sunrises over the sea. I've been a photographer for, well, it's many years now, but no matter how many sunrises I've witnessed, each one still feels like the first. There's something magical about it, something that pulls you in, makes you feel alive in a way you never expect. I've spent a lifetime chasing light, but it's those first moments, the ones just before the sun peaks over the horizon, that really capture the essence of it all. As you know, I'm very big on light, and when you're standing there at the edge of the sea, and the salty breeze on your face, and the promise of a new day rising over the water, you can't help but feel connected to something larger than yourself. Now I know, and I've been one, there are those who say they can't be bothered to wake up early, and that the beauty of the sunrise can be captured just as well any time of day. Well, I don't believe that's true. But these people that say that are missing something. They're missing the quiet. They're missing the stillness. You see, sunrises over the sea isn't just a scene. It's an experience, and it's an experience that can't be replicated by anything else. It's the colours that first take you in. The soft gradients of the sky, violet, purple, and bluish pink, all bleeding into each other as the light starts to creep into the world. Those deep blues of the night sky are still clinging on, but slowly, almost reluctantly, they give way to the fiery oranges and the pale golds of the sun. That's the first moment of magic. But it's not just about the colours themselves. It's about how they move, how they shift, how they play with the waves. The ocean, it's like a living canvas. Every sunrise, the colours ripple across the water in a different way. The way the light catches the surface, reflecting and breaking apart, creating the dance of reds and oranges that seem to flicker on the water like fireflies. You can see it clearly, but then the light moves, the colours deepen, and suddenly the sea looks like it's on fire, and you're standing there, your camera in hand, heart racing, because you know that this exact moment will never come again. The Japanese have a word, ichigo ichi, one time, one meeting. The light will never fall the same way again, and that, my friends, is why you have to be there. You have to witness it. You have to absorb it in your bones. You have to let the emotion run through your body. And let's talk about the emotion of it all. See, when you've been doing this as long as I have, you start to feel something deeper than just a good shot. It's not just about getting the perfect image. It's about capturing the mood, the essence. You stand there waiting for the light to emerge, and you feel the tension in the air. It's like the world is holding its breath, waiting for something beautiful to happen. There's an anticipation, a stillness, as though everything is about to change. And when the sun finally makes its appearance, there's this rush of energy. It's hard to put into words, but there's this feeling of gratitude, like you've been given the brief moment in time, this fleeting gift that's too perfect to hold on to. There's a joy in witnessing something so pure, so raw, a joy I can't find anywhere else. It's a kind of joy that fills you up completely, like a cock brimming over with light. You know there's a certain kind of peace that comes with being out at sunrise. You're not rushing to get anywhere. You're not hurrying for deadlines or thinking about the world outside. It's just you, the sea, and the sky. And it doesn't matter how old you are, there's something timeless about those moments. They have a way of resetting everything. Let's look at some images of sunrise I've taken over the past year or so. A glorious sunrise Years behind the lens and this scene still takes my breath away. The fiery hues of the sky are painter's palettes splashed across the canvas of the heavens. Oranges, reds and a touch of deep brooding purple. It's a classic really. The silhouette of the little seaside shelter is a perfectly placed, a dark counterpoint to the vibrant sky. Notice how the light catches the windows, framing the fiery spectacle within. It's almost as if the shelter itself is a frame within a frame, a deliberate composition. I've always appreciated the way a simple structure can add depth and meaning to a landscape. And that lone figure, yes, I had to wait for them. Walking along the shore, a tiny speck against the vastness of the sea and sky. It adds a sense of scale, a reminder of humanity's place in the grand scheme of things. A touch of loneliness perhaps, but also a sense of quiet contemplation. The photographer's eye, you see, is always looking for those subtle narratives. The pier in the distance, barely visible in the fading light, adds another layer of depth. It's a familiar landmark, a silent witness to countless sunrises and sunsets. The string of lights overhead, a delicate touch, adds a touch of human intervention to the natural beauty of the scene. A subtle reminder that even in the most breathtaking landscapes, human life continues. In this image, a glorious spectacle, this shop, the kiosk, bathed in warm glow of its own light against cool blues and oranges of the pre-dawn sky, is a study in contrasts. The vibrant, almost artificial light of the kiosk sit juxtapositioned with the soft natural hues of the sunrise. I love how the colours blend into each other, a subtle blurring of the lines between man-made and natural beauty. And these are always things that you look for. The pier in the distance, a dark silhouette against a fiery sky, adds a sense of scale and depth. It anchors the image, grounding the viewer in the scene. The composition itself pleasing. The kiosk sits slightly off-centre, creating a more dynamic feel than a perfectly symmetrical shot would have. I could easily have overexposed the sky, lost detail in the highlights, but I held back. Normally I shoot these images at up to 2 stops underexposed. But when I held back, preserving the subtle graduations of the colour, that's the key. You see, to capturing the essence of a sunrise, not just the blaze of light, but the quiet beauty in the shadows and the subtle shifts in tone. It's about capturing the feeling of the moment, the tranquility before the day fully awakens. All of these years, and I still find something new with the sunrise. When I take these images, I try to convey something of my emotion. Photography for me, and sunrises, sunsets, they have a particular feeling that they evoke, and I try to introduce that into my images, whether it's a sunrise or something else. This shot, a masterpiece of fiery hues. The sun, a molten orb, gradually poking above the horizon, paints the sky in a breathtaking palette of oranges, reds, and a deep smoky yellow. The clouds themselves seem to ablaze, catching the light and reflecting it back in 1,000 shimmering variations. I've seen thousands of sunsets, but this one has a particular magic. The pier, a skeletal silhouette against the fiery backdrop, adds a sense of depth and scale. It's a familiar sight, yet the way that light transforms it renders it almost ethereal. The subtle texture of the wet sand in the foreground, the gentle lapping of the waves, these details are often overlooked, and you mustn't overlook them. You must feel the emotion, you must look for every section of your image. They are what elevates a photograph from a simple snapshot to something more profound. Used a slightly longer exposure here, capturing the movement of the water, blurring it very slightly into a soft, almost dreamlike quality. A quiet contemplation of the day's beginning. The composition is simple yet powerful. The rule of thirds is subtly employed, drawing the eye naturally across the scene. It's all about balance. You see, after all these years, it's about finding that perfect balance between light and shadow, between chaos and calm. And this, my friend, is perfect balance. Here was an image at a place quite local to me, Fairy Cove. The sunrise, a fiery spectacle. The sun, perfect disc, incandescent orange, hangs low over the horizon. Its light painting the sky and sea in a breathtaking gradient of reds and oranges. The intensity is almost overwhelming, yet there is a stillness, a quiet power to the scene. I chose the moment carefully. The precise instant when the sun's reflection on the water was at its most vibrant. A band of light coming towards me and a small spar of land. Notice how the light catches the metalwork of the day beacon, transforming it into a stark silhouette against the blazing sky. The islands in the distance, dark and mysterious, provide a sense of scale and depth, anchoring the image. The birds, small and insignificant against the vastness of the scene, add a touch of life, a reminder of the natural world continuing its rhythm even as the sun rises. And as you watch them, so new life is breathed into your excitement and your composition. This composition is simple, almost austere, but the impact is profound. The symmetry is deliberate, the reflection mirroring the sun's position, creating a sense of balance and harmony. The overall effect is one of awe, a feeling of being witness to something truly extraordinary. And that is why we go to take sunsets. For this emotion, this feeling, this stillness in the early morning. Normally there are few people around and you can feel really at one with your craft and your art. This one was special. Yet another sunrise. This is what this video is all about. This one slightly different. This image, however, focuses solely on the raw power of the sun and the band of light shining through the day beacon. It's more minimalistic approach, relying on the interplay of light and shadow, the contrast between fiery sky and the dark water to create its impact. It's a different kind of beauty, as to be honest, all of the sunrises are. They all have their special place and special memory. Are we making memories or are we making art? Are we inspiring you? Are we looking for the interplay of light? Are we looking for the excitement and the stillness, the quietness of the early day? All of them, in their own way, is very beautiful. And here we have the opposite of a sunrise. We have a sunset. And this was late in the evening. And the angle of the sun, the existing light, offers a different narrative entirely. Forget the vibrant hues of the others. This is about quiet drama of deep golds and burning embers. The sun itself is a molten orb, sinking below the horizon. Its light diffused by a thick layer of clouds, creating a hazy, almost ethereal glow. The silhouette of the boats moored in the calm water are perfectly composed, their stillness contrasting with the implied movement of the cloud. So if you really don't like getting up early, go to a quiet place and take a sunset. More difficult because obviously more people are around. But it's about choosing your composition. It's about trying to get over the emotion of it. And like every time, every picture, light is the creator of those emotions. The composition is, I feel, fairly strong, relying on leading lines created by the water and the boats to draw the eye towards the sun. The depth of field is more shallow than normal, blurring the land background slightly and focusing attention on the boats and the figure in the foreground. The overall expression is of peaceful contemplation, a serene ending to the day. The colour grading is subtle, enhancing the warmth. It's a classic image, timeless and evocative, capturing the quiet beauty of a sunset, or in this case, the final moments of the day. All of these, whether they are sunsets or sunrises, rely on a slight underexposure so that the colours enhance and rich, and you can see the sun without burning it out, and you get the orb in the picture. So I find that normally we require a couple of stops underexposed. So here we have an image of a sunrise with a studying texture and light. The foreground is dominated by the tall, slender blades of pampas grass. The sun itself partly is obscured, peeking through the grasses, creating a beautiful bokeh effect and a warm golden glow. The depth of field is carefully managed, keeping the grasses sharply in focus while softly blurring the background water and sky. This selective focus draws the viewer's eye directly to the interplay of light and shadow within the grass. The colour palette, like all of these sunsets, is very rich, with a hint of purple and deeper colour in the clouds. The overall mood is serene and contemplative, a quiet moment of beauty captured at the beginning of the day. The slight underexposure in the shadows adds depth and mystery. My nickname is the Shadowmaster, and all of my pictures have shadows. It is something that I believe that the shadows create an interplay and make the light more vibrant and the image more balanced. Technically, the exposure is as it should be, capturing the delicate highlights and shadows without losing detail in either. I'm really satisfied with this image. It was something I was very pleased with. This sunrise, the composition is deceptively simple. And I mentioned before that normally there are fewer people around for sunrises. Yet this photographer, a good friend, is silhouetted against the sky. I knew he was there because I went with him. The power and the beauty of the scene is a testament to composition and to lighting. And the fact that he's in the scene makes it less lonely, but still lonesome. So the low vantage point here emphasises the vastness of the sky and the sea. And this is important when you look at these things. The light is magnificent, and it's very easy to become overwhelmed and just snap away. But you still have to pay attention to your composition, to the light and the shadow that make these images so wonderful. And when you look back on them, you're proud to have been there, and they bring back memories and emotions. The sun, though partially obscured by the clouds in this image, manages to cast a warm golden glow across the water. The clouds themselves are dramatic, heavy and with texture and depth. The colours are rich and saturated, but not overly so. Technically, the exposure is spot on, capturing the detail in both the highlights and the shadows. The focus sharp on the photographer, subtly blurring the background and drawing the viewer's eye to the central figure and the breathtaking spectacle before him. A sunrise shot is all about the subtle interplay of light and texture. The low sun just breaking the horizon casts warm golden light across the wet sand and the dark glistening rocks in the foreground. I particularly like the way the light catches the damp sand, creating those delicate, almost ephemeral patterns. The rocks themselves providing a strong grounding element, contrasting the soft flowing water. The composition was carefully considered. The leading lines of the receding waves draw the eye towards the rising sun. Now, we know that our eyes are drawn to the brightest part of an image, but in sunrises, it's important to add something more, something with texture, or with another element in the image. An element to isolate the sun and to put the sun in the glory of its own, so the shadows will add to this. The exposure is crucial in this image. You have to balance the bright highlights of the sun with the darker tones of the rock and sand, and it's something which people don't appreciate. More obviously is that the balance between light and dark is crucial. The overall mood is peaceful and contemplative, a quiet moment of beauty captured at the start of the new day. It's technically very good. I'm pleased with the sharpness and the dynamic range captured. Every wave, every flicker of light on the water is like the world is reminding you of something. And these are successful images when they can create an emotion, when they can make your heart beat a little faster. Yes, we have to be technically correct, but we have to reach a stage where we can actually feel the beauty in the image. You start to feel small sometimes, not in a way that makes you feel insignificant, although that sometimes happens. It's a kind of smallness that makes you realise you're a part of something much bigger than yourself. The worship of the new day, a new beginning, and all the joys that will bring, and sometimes all the challenges. But then photographing sunrises can be a challenge. And it's something that we have to pay attention to. The way the cool mist of the morning mixes with the warmth of the sun in this image, the way the colours shift, the blink of an eye, those are things you can't freeze in time, but you try anyway. You capture what you can, and you hope that someone who looks at your photo will feel even a fraction of what you felt standing there. I think that's why I keep going out morning after morning, chasing the same horizon, because it's not about getting the shot anymore. It's about the feeling, something bigger than yourself. It's about being there, being part of the moment, and sharing that with others in the hopes that they feel it too. The magic of the colours, the beauty of the sea, the joy of witnessing it all, and that's what sunrises mean to me. And every time I see it, I fall in love with the world all over again. That's a real gift, isn't it? The gift of seeing things through fresh eyes each and every time. That's what sunrise is about. There's always something new, always something beautiful, just waiting for us to see and record it. So, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned photographer, I encourage you to embrace the light. Go out early, catch a sunrise, and never stop exploring. The world is full of beautiful, fleeting moments, and it's up to us as photographers to capture them. Thank you for joining me on this musing about sunrises. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget, like and subscribe. And as always, drop any thoughts or questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your photography adventures. Until next time, keep shooting and keep exploring.